Hey, Grandma and Grandpa. Thanks for coming out to my farewell today. I guess it's July 14th, 2019. We're in the Becky Bailey family home in Idaho Falls, and I'm just about to leave on my mission, so I was going to ask a couple questions here.
It's a delight to be with you. We're sure glad we could come, and you gave a great talk this morning.
Thank you. The first question is, what extracurricular activities did you participate in during your school years?
Like high school or college or both?
Let's do both. Let's start with Greg.
My big thing in high school was band, marching band and symphony orchestra and music generally.
And you played the trumpet?
Played the trumpet and the French horn,
Oh, okay.
depending on what was needed. The trumpet was for, like, they didn't call them jazz band, they called it pep band at the time, and I played that a lot. Well, you saw that in the movie, how good I was. It wasn't anything like that, but that was the type of music we did play quite a bit. But I also did symphony orchestra and that type of thing. But that was pretty, I didn't go out for high school sports. I ran track a little bit and played basketball a little bit, but most of my time was taken with pep band and orchestra and band.
That's cool. What about you, Grandma?
Well, in high school, our high school was quite a social high school. They had social clubs and things in Southern California there, and they were sort of connected to some of the fraternity and sororities at USC and UCLA. They were like prep things for that. So the LDS kids just kind of hung out together as their own little group, and then they eventually worked together. And my junior and senior year, we were a pilot class for early morning seminary.
Oh, wow.
So it hadn't happened before that in my junior year. So I'm not a seminary graduate, but I had something to do with getting the early morning seminary program. I was one of those.
What year was that?
The first year they had it, my junior, well, I graduated in 52, so that would have been 50, I guess, 1950.
Wow.
So we had a lot of fun. We were kind of like family, the LDS kids, and we would eat our lunch together and things like that.
Pretty neat.
It wasn't an extracurricular particularly, but I took a lot of ceramic classes. Was one of my favorite for fun classes.
Oh, yeah?
I had a good teacher there, and we like to support the school sports teams.
When did you do art? Sorry, your painting.
Oh, I did a little bit of that, but had an art class or two at BYU, but not too much. I'm more the crafty, the ceramic and the crafty.
I should mention that in high school, the marching band was really a big thing in Idaho Falls. They won state marching championships for several years in a row. Mr. Gifford was, we would have competitions up in Moscow, Idaho, and over in Boise, and all over. It was kind of a big deal. I don't know if it's a big deal today or not, but it was a big deal then.
I think it is kind of a big deal still. So.
I was also in the, I think they called it the pep club, that we would shake pom-poms at football games and things like that, you know, and that was a routine. Nothing like they do nowadays. They really, it's a real sport nowadays, the way they do it. But we marched and did little cheers. But our, one of the sports I liked to watch was the gymnastic team. We had a really good gymnastic team. And one of the fellows that was on the gymnastic team, actually, he and his family joined the church during my high school years, and his name was Russ Tamblin. He became kind of a movie star after a while. He was in Seven Brides for Seven Brothers and Tom Thumb and a few things like that. So we like to support him, and he was a very good gymnast in high school.
Cool.
Who asked that
College.
question, sorry?
What was the Powell's?
Alex, okay.
Well, that was, did you want our college? In college, my junior and senior year participated in what we called the Kiora Club. We learned the Maori dances, the Polynesian dances, and I was rather interested in that because I was writing to a missionary in the South Pacific. And several of my roommates and I participated in that. We went on tours and did a lot of programs. The early days of the BYU Student Program Bureau, one of the groups.
Did you do anything in college that was extracurricular?
I was in ROTC for a year, my freshman year. I didn't go back for my junior year, or my sophomore year, but I again played in the band and the orchestra, and just not near as much. I mean, I didn't take it as a class, but we did participate in that. Yeah.
That's cool.
To,
So this is another PAL question. It says, describe a typical outfit you'd wear during your teenage years.
You start, Gene.
Well, I guess my generation was called the Bobby Soxer generation. We, probably typical, what is it known as, the poodle skirt, but kind of, we wore skirts to school, girls did in my day. Angora sweaters were really popular, the soft, really soft sweaters, and we usually had matching bobby socks that would match the color of the sweater. I don't know what else.
Well, you were the model girl for
Well,
Sears
that wasn't
Roebuck.
in high school.
That was in
That
college. Was that in high school or
No,
what?
that was just one little episode.
Yeah. But anyway,
oh, was that high school or college?
That was
College.
BYU.
BYU.
yeah. I was not very fashion conscious. I wore whatever was comfortable, whatever was available.
And what was that?
Just basically, we didn't wear jeans, that is Levi's. It was mostly just slacks and a shirt. Sweaters, yeah, sweaters were kind of something that we wore quite a bit, but I was not fashion conscious, so just kind of whatever was available.
Makes sense. I guess another PAL question. It says, tell us about candy. I think there must have been some backstory about not having candy in the home, or something else.
I'm not sure. I grew up loving candy and still do.
Maybe they're talking about, this is mostly about before we were married, not about our family.
Oh yeah, maybe. What was
What section is it under?
food?
So it could be
So-
anything.
Tell us about candy.
I guess when
There's
I
probably
think
one of
about
the little
candy
kids
when
that-
I was a girl, what kind of candy was popular? Maybe is that
Yeah,
what
there
you're
you
wondering?
Let's go with that.
Okay. Well, Hershey bars were around. What else do you remember?
Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
Mars.
Did we have Snickers then? I know.
Probably.
Like, what were your favorites? Like, if you got to buy something?
I always liked the little chocolate-covered raisins, but when I think about candy in my youth, I think about my dad, whose name you carry as your middle name, Seth Farrell. Grandpa Saban, my dad, made delicious divinity. He really was an expert in that. Do you even know what divinity is?
I haven't had it. I've seen pictures.
Oh, we'll have to teach you to make it so you can carry on his
Tradition.
but it's that soft, fluffy that with egg white. And, he really got good at that. He helped in the kitchen quite a bit. He was a specialty cook on divinity and fudge and honey candy. We made the honey candy where you boil the honey and then stretch
Yeah, I
and stretch
remember
and make
that. I
taffy.
made that at home when you
That's really
stretch
fun.
it and It was taffy, really.
Yeah.
Didn't we call it taffy? Yeah. Well, one story that I remember very well is they had these great big orange peanuts that were made out of soft whatever,
Marshmallows.
kind of.
Like circus peanuts?
Yeah.
And I remember of getting a whole handful of them and chewing away at them, and all of a sudden I got a terrible, terrible toothache. I mean, really a bad one. And I don't know whether it was that was the straw that broke the camel's back anyway. And I remember I've never had one since. Because that was so painful.
Did you have a cavity or something?
I had something. I went to the dentist. They fixed it, whatever it was. But
Well, wasn't there a story about the oranges, the orange slices that you used to,
I don't
you
remember.
got into some
Oh,
candy your mom had
we got into candy.
hidden away and
Oh,
and
yeah.
the punishment for it? Do you remember that story?
Oh yeah, was you had to eat the rest of the bag. And while they're good, one or two are good. By the time you get down to the 10th or 15th, they don't taste very good at all.
Yeah. All right. This is a question from the Blazers. It says, "What is your comfort food?"
Ice cream.
Yeah.
I agree.
Do you have a favorite flavor of ice cream?
I'd have to say chocolate for me. And hot chocolate is also a comfort food, in the wintertime especially.
Chocolate or strawberry or tin roofs, I don't know. Any ice cream's good.
Tin Roof Sundae is one of my favorite too.
Where are we at? Okay. This is a question from the Baileys. It says, "Can you share a time when your faith was challenged?"
Now we're talking about a high school type thing or
Just any time in your life.
anytime? I don't really remember much from my junior high or high school. No one ever really. I do remember when it was time to go on my mission and they wouldn't let me go because of the draft board. And that was kind of a challenge to me because I'd always planned on it and prepared for it, and then they said, "No, you can't go." And oh, what? I don't know. That was the Second World War was over, but the Korean War was still going, and they would only let one person per ward, one young man per ward, go on a mission because the draft board needed the others to fill their quota of draftees. And but I was in school, and they gave you a school deferment. If you were in school, you would get deferred too. So I don't know that it challenged my faith, but it definitely made me realize, hey, you can't take things for granted. I just assumed I'd always go on a mission, and then there was a period of time for a year or so that I wasn't sure if I'd be able to or not, and then they signed the armistice in 1953 or 2, I can't remember, and then there's always a delayed action, but they finally said, okay, now 2 per ward can go, because we don't need as many men going into the military, and I was on the list, so I was number 3, so I got to go the next year. So, but as far as challenges to faith, there's always challenges to your faith when things go wrong. When you get thrown out of the boat into the ocean, that's a challenge to your faith, and a lot of things like that. But I don't remember any specific things.
Okay.
I don't have any particular time where I was really critical about losing faith. My faith just kind of grew. It just always seemed right. As I was growing up, had a lot of opportunities with a lot of non-member friends in Southern California. really good girls, good people, and sometimes we would have discussions about our faith. And it seems to me that as I would have these discussions, it was more strengthening my faith, realizing how they didn't have really strong beliefs, a lot of them, and kind of were more influenced by the styles and trends and things of the world. So I really am grateful for my growing up at the time I did in Southern California, when the church members really supported one another because we were in a big minority. Or a very small minority, I guess you could say. And so my faith grew step by step. But, as you all know, as the Lord directed things in our lives, I was set apart as His companion. That's where Dominic was born, and they literally carried my shoes home and I brought them home. But then I out with them again. It's the family that was
interesting that when we were set apart, First GrGrGr sat nearby as the Mr. President of Washington, Noah Moxley said to be part as a missionary. So he used the words "born land." So he didn't know anything about that which I was blessed.
And then one more here.
Yes and no. When we came home from our big mission trip, things had gone south on the real estate market. We were having a really hard time. We had really didn't know what to do. I took a part-time job teaching at a church college, which is not really girls. We taught all of them. You're not in the room, you turn the lights on. Wear sweaters and keep way down. So things like that. And one day I was just looking through the mail and I got a notice from I set up the brokerage and I thought this was a little bit of Sony stuff over there. With some extra. So we just little by little sold it, and it was really happy. talk about regrets, my regret is that I sold it, because it would have been worth a lot more than 50,000 today. But I don't regret it in that it was necessary, and it was